Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Sorry about the delay. We had a minor glitch, and we'll try to move as fast as we can. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment virtual planning hearing are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and a provincial order that limits attendance at public gatherings. My name is Isaac Laluz, and I will be chairing the hearing. Panel members participating today via WebEx are Ms. Sankar, Ms. Tarodi, Mr. Bartolo, and Mr. Klassen. These will be seen and heard. City staff will be assisting us throughout the meeting, including moderating the WebEx platform. Participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentation to the committee using the said WebEx. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching on YouTube. These participants will be connecting either by their computer, a phone or tablet app, or by telephone. All participants will automatically be muted on entry, and when your item is called, each participant will be unmuted one person at a time. Only the committee members will be participating by video. Any registered participant will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you're called to speak. Please have only one electronic device on at a time to avoid background echoing. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1993-90 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provision of the zoning bylaw that applies to the property, permission to extend or alter legal non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone who wants to receive a copy of the committee's decision for an application must submit a written request by email. Please include your name, address, and email address, because Committee of Adjustment and TLAB will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email only. If you do not agree with the committee's decision, decisions may be appealed to the Toronto local appeal body known as TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the local planning appeal tribunal known as LPAT. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the committee's decision. The hearing today will be as follows. I will call each item in the order listed in the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant will proceed with their presentation if required. The committee may ask questions or take the matter into the committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee, and I will comment when the 5-minute mark is reached. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address, and please confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. Where required, the applicant or agent will proceed first with the presentation, and please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised, to ensure the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to receive a notice are informed of the changes. Then individuals in support or in opposition to the application will be invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker at the end of their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has the chance to address only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussions. The application will then be taken to committee for a decision. Today we have no minutes to adopt, and for this morning session only, members and staff, any conflict of interest to declare? No? Again, for this session, for this morning session only, any files to close or deferrals?
No,
For
Mr.
this
Chairman.
morning only?
No files to close.
No. Okay, so one housekeeping item before we move on. The staff have something to announce, please.
Mr. Chairman, for all those that have registered to speak and are waiting online to speak, please make sure that you call in with the number you registered with. If you call in with a different number, we will not see you on the screen and you will not be able to speak. So please make sure you called in with the number that you're registered with. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Okay, so we'll call on, I have item number 1, 3 Janie Place. This is the application to obtain a consent and 2 variance applications. Staff report has standard conditions with no, the rest is okay. Engineering, no objection, just the conditions. And 7 letters of opposition, including the Sahara Ratepayers Association. Mr. Shakiri, are you there?
Yes, sir, and I can hear you well.
Okay. For the records here, you have to announce your name and your address, please.
Ali Shakiri, 326 Shepherd Avenue East.
Okay, we have 2 more speakers here registered to speak, and therefore we need a presentation from you. We have 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes, and I put the clock right now.
Sure. Yes, as you can see, this is an application to sever a parcel of land into 2. Number 3 Janie is split to 3A and 3B. We have done very, very careful study of the neighborhood and the type of lots that we are creating is very much in keeping with the context of the neighborhood. We had basically discussed this with the planning. The planning has no objection. Actually, they find this in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. There was one comment previously from the planning just about the height of the buildings, which we actually reduced to the desired height by the planning department, and the application that you can see before you, the variances are basically the modified variances according to our discussion with the planning.
Are you
have any further comments?
Are you modifying it right now, or that's what you have there?
No, it's already modified.
Already modified. Okay, so are you finished? Are you through, or you want to continue? Mr. Shakiri, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. Sorry.
So are you?
So no, it's already modified, sir. According to the comments by the planning, the variance before you is already modified. So and I have no further comments. If there is any question, I'd be more than glad to answer.
Okay, so we'll call you back after we hear from the other speakers. Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
We have here Monica Seger. Are you there? Monica?
Yes, am I unmuted?
Okay, please, for the records, we need you to state your name and address, please.
Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Monica Seeger Van Tol. My address is 5 Janie Place. So I am directly north of the house which is existing and which will be split into 2. Thank you for the opportunity to comment. And I'll be followed by the Ratepayers Association representative.
Yes, we have them. You have 5 minutes. Please go ahead with your presentation.
Okay.
Tell us what you're concerned.
Yes, I'm particularly concerned with the height variance, which is still existing. The request for a flat roof is more than 9 meters, and I understand that the allowed height is 7.2 meters. And I believe that this is a major variance, and there are 2 flat roof houses proposed, which would have a substantial impact on the neighborhood. So I'm not sure if you know it, but Janie Place is a one-block street with 18 houses, and they are mixed as described in some of the letters of objection from my neighbors. There are original bungalows, there are modified 1.5-story, and there are new 2-story buildings. But I must say that the addition of 2 large block houses in the middle of the block would not be in keeping with the nature of our street. And all the letters of objection, which you have seen, talk about the impact of these 2 large structures, which would affect both the people on the street behind us on Esgor and the people looking at these houses on the opposite side of the street, and of course the neighbors. So I wanted to understand the impact on my house in terms of natural light coming in should a large wall be built directly south of me. So I commissioned an architect and landscape architect to do a sunshade study. And it was found that with the times and dates that he looked at, there would be an impact on the shoulder months in terms of the natural light coming into my house through skylights, which are on the main floor on the south side. And so this indicated that in those months, April and October, if you look at the attachment to my letter, that the light is blocked and there will be no natural light coming in through to the main floor, both in the kitchen and eating area. So my concern is that at this time of COVID, with restrictions on people traveling and going outside and moving around, it's more important than ever for people to be satisfied with their quality of life in their house and in their backyard. And so I would urge the committee to seriously consider the impact on something which affects several neighbors that you've heard from in terms of their privacy, the shade they receive from trees, and the general enjoyment. So the problem is not so much the contemporary design or a flat roof, because other neighboring houses have managed to build a house with a flat roof without variance. And both Sarah and myself have sent you a photo of the house on Joycey, which managed to be built with a flat roof without exceeding the height variance. So I will conclude by mostly pointing out to the height variance, which does not seem to be minor and has a big impact on the character of the street and the enjoyment of the people on their natural environment and even their space inside their houses. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question for this speaker? No? Yeah, Ms. Sankar?
One question.
The question.
It seems that there's no problems with the severances in your view with these properties, but it is about the height. And I've heard Mr. Shakiri at the beginning saying that he believed it fit in with the neighborhood. You're saying no because it's a specific street that has a limited number of homes, as well as you've done a shade study. And I see one that has been incorporated here that I had thought was Mr. Shakiri's model that seems to contradict. So I just wanted to hear from you just once more, how does this impact the character of the neighborhood? That's very important for me to understand this height variance that you're talking about.
So it looks from the designs we've been provided with that there will be 2 large rectangular buildings separated by about 6 feet and covering the whole front and back of the lot. So it's almost 65 feet across of a flat roof and quite similar looking buildings, houses, as we can tell. So this excessive height and the flat roof design right in the middle of the block, so that everyone, all the neighbors are basically impacted by it, changes the character of this street. I also included in my letter some typical houses, pictures of typical houses on the street.
Okay, thank you. Any other question? Okay, now we call on Sheila Harrison. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, could you please state your name and address for the records here?
Sheila Harrison Dunlop, 118 Felbrick Avenue.
Thank you. So please go ahead, tell us what your concern is, and you have 5 minutes, and I'm setting it right now.
Okay. I am a director on the board of the South Armagh Heights Residents Association, and we actively monitor and respond to C of A applications because one of our mandates is to ensure appropriate development in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. The 3 Janie Place application involves a severance, which I don't think anybody is contesting. The lot widths are quite decent and in keeping with other lot sizes in the area. It was a very large lot to width-wise to start with. What everyone is having a problem with are the applications for the new builds, and the only variance that is really disturbing is the one regarding the building height. The design is what we call a true flat roof, and the zoning allows this to be 7.2 meters rather than 10, which is allowed for a peaked roof. And planning, the city of Toronto decided that flat roof houses should have a lower maximum height since they have more massing at the upper portions compared to peaked roofs. They could be virtually the same height, but it has a different impact. In this case, the variances are being asked for 9.02 and 9.1. So we consider that to be a major variance in that it's 25% above what is allowed. Then, as Monica Seeger mentioned, the visual impact of the flat roof design, when you have 2 houses that are side by side, it's creating a great wall of going straight up. So that height in excess of the 7 is even more overwhelming on that particular street. Monica has mentioned the nature of the homes on Janie. It is a small street. And she did mention that there is a flat roof. And I included a picture that she had taken of that home right on the corner of Joycey and Janie. We dealt with that application quite a few years ago. It was originally an application with many variances. They went and modified that, and they built that house within all the bylaws. So it is no greater than the 7.2. So the one thing that I thought was very interesting, the applicant submitted precedents of 23 different C of A decisions. And I would comment that only 12 of those were in the what would be called the immediate adjacent character area. And some of them were very old, going back to 2007. But out of that, it was very interesting that none of these examples that they gave were for a flat roof design height. And our knowledge is based on all the true flat roof designs that we have in our area. There are only 2 that are above the allowed, and both those situations ended up going to OMB before they were settled. The neighbors large number of them have voiced their concerns about the construction of these two new dwellings with this height. And I think that's very significant. The section 4.1.5 requires that the development respect and reinforce the existing physical character of the neighborhood, including the heights and massing. And therefore, we feel that in this situation, the building heights for these two new buildings should be modified as it would they would be out of character for the immediate adjacent area neighborhood.
That's it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Any question for the speaker? No? Okay, we have one, another speaker just registered now. Tira de Pellegrin, are you there?
Mr. Chair,
Is she-
I do not see that ratepayer, but let me just double check the phone number call-ins. Yeah, no, actually,
No.
Mr. Chair, I don't have that
You
person
just
called
added
in.
it. Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so Mr. Shakiri, could you please come back and respond to those concerns and we'll move on? Mr. Shakiri, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here, sir.
Okay, so please respond to the speakers before and let us move on.
Sure. Thanks for the comments. Since I didn't hear any objection regarding the severance, can we proceed with the severance application before we go to the minor variance applications?
Well, we generally go, especially in this virtual hearings, we like to move on a block so we can move on.
Sure.
Don't forget, we have
Sure.
44 cases today and we have to move on. So we have the application, we have the staff report, we have all the recommendations, and please just address those concerns. And the members will make the decision, and I'll reset it again, give you full 5 minutes, okay?
Okay, thank you, sir. So if I may ask the committee to display the supportive material that I submitted, the first page, image 1. And as you can see on that image, we have shown all the parcels of land on Joycey Avenue, Janie Place, sorry. And most of the lots already on Janie Place are 30-foot lots, with exception of the subject lot on the east side and a few of the 50-foot lots on the west side. And the interesting is when we split this lot into two lots, we do not even generate any variance for the lot frontage or the lot area. As you can see on all of these applications, usually the frontage or the area of the lot is triggered as a variance when we sever the lot. But those two lots completely comply, and that's why we had no issue with the planning department when it comes to splitting the lots. And if we can, please go to the second page, which is image 2A. That is the first, basically, first house, number 3A. What we have demonstrated here is if we had a conventional type of roof on this building without even seeking a variance, the height of the roof would be increased by about 1 meter. And we will have extension of the eaves trough to the side yards, and the mass of the building is going to be majorly increased. Let alone that we still will have a flat roof on top. You know, it's going to be slightly smaller than the flat roof that we have now, but the entire mass of the building is going to be increased. As a matter of fact, we need this variance to somehow decrease the height of the building. So now we understand that the bylaw says 7.2 meters, but I'm sure the panel members know that that remains the only part of the bylaw 569/2013 that is still under appeal. And as I can see, as I can hear from your colleagues in the city hall and other planners involving in this, that's not reasonable. And very likely is going to be repealed. So we are asking for that variance. To basically that by that variance, by getting that variance, we are improving the style of the design that we want to have, and we are decreasing the size of the home, the height of the building, which is a majority of the comments that I'm hearing from the other side, is going to be higher if we have to put a conventional roof on either of these two buildings without even seeking a variance. And therefore, I think technically it's a reasonable variance to ask. That the shadow is going to be. I'm not going to question the accuracy of the shadow study provided by our neighbor at 5 Janie, but if we believe that that is true and that is accurate, it's going to be even more if we didn't have any variance and if we had a conventional roof. So with that respect, I think the variance, that variance is desirable. So it was when we spoke to the planning, and as I mentioned before, we reduced the height to be acceptable by the planning department. And I'm sure you've read the report. At the very end, they are mentioning that this design is in keeping with the neighborhood. There is presence of the modern design in the neighborhood. And the precedents we provided is not basically, it's a homework we did on our side. We don't want to basically create anything out of character. And Ms. Harrison mentioned that only 12 of them are adjacent. Well, I don't think if we need more than 12 to be adjacent, but we wanted to show that we didn't just go by the adjacent. Sorry for the interruption. We looked at the entire neighborhood. Sorry for the interruption. So we not only looked at the adjacent houses, we looked through the entire neighborhood. And we believe that, I mean, based on the work we've done, working with the planning department and all the evidence provided, this is a reasonable proposal. We're hoping that you move forward to approve. Thank you.
Okay, any questions to the agent here?
Yeah, to you, Mr. Chair, I have a question. I have a question for the agent. This application done by waiver, and also in the staff report, we didn't get information regarding the average lot coverage and lot frontage. So I would like to ask you what is the maximum permitted lot coverage? No, sorry, what's the maximum permitted lot frontage and the lot area in this neighborhood? What's
thank you very much.
Minimum required lot frontage and minimum required lot area?
Sure. The minimum required is 9 meters for either of the lots.
For lot frontage.
For lot frontage. And as you can see, we have more than that. One of the lots is, the smaller one is 10.67. Right. And the bigger one is 12.
Correct.
Sorry for the interruption. So if I convert it to imperial, it's going to be 35 foot for the smaller lot, which is still bigger than the required frontage. And
what about lot area? The minimum required lot area in this area?
Yes, just if you bear with me for a second, I can confirm that. I believe it's 273 square meters, but I have to double check that.
Okay.
Yeah, 275 square meter is the minimum required.
Okay.
And we are also exceeding that majorly.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other question? If not, I'd like to have a motion, please. Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. These are always very difficult decisions, especially when you do have a lot of opposition. I didn't hear any opposition whatsoever about the severance of the properties. So I'll deal with that part first. So with respect to severing the properties, I'll make a motion to approve the severances and the consent to do so. With respect to the variances, part 1 and part 2, you know, I've listened to what the neighbors said about the height, but then comparing to the image that 2A that was presented by the applicant himself and the explanation for how this will be perceived if he went with as of right, and the differences between the bylaws, you know, I'm tending to agree with him. And I think the neighbors would see the benefit in that if he did the design in the manner that he's doing it. I think he's trying to use as much possibly to reduce impact in the neighborhood. So with that, I'll approve both part 1 and part 2 of the variances. They will be subject to the staff conditions of September 25th, and that's my motion.
Thank you. Second, Mr. Klassen, second. All in favor? Opposed? Ms. Satarodi is opposing. Mr. Shakiri, your application is approved, both the severance and the variances and the as per a condition, okay? I don't think he's there anymore. Huh? Okay. Thank you. Item number 2, which is 123 Florence Avenue. This is also a severance and 2 variance applications, 11 and 10 variances. Staff report is recommending refusal. Engineering and services, just recommendations. Transportation, no objection. Bell has the recommendation. And 2 letters of support, 4 letters of opposition, and letter from councillor who supports the staff for refusal. So, Mr. Who's here is Barak Haji Hashimi. Barak Haji Hashimi, are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm here and I can hear you.
Okay, can you please, for the record, state your name and address, please?
Babak Haji Gassemi, 142 Willowdale, Unit B.
Thank you. So, can you please give us 5 minutes presentation, and remember the all the refusals and the reports there, and please address why you think your application is viable, and I'll give you the 5 minutes and I'll start it right now.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. I was wondering if I can ask the committee staff to display the presentation material that I submitted 2 days ago. I know this has not been circulated with the committee panel, but it's just a reference to my presentation. It's nothing, the materials are just maps.
Is there any, did you? Yeah.
Staff is bringing it up right now.
Thank you very much. So I would like to begin with zoning with this map, which shows the zoning map of where this property is located. The property is located in zone F12, which is the minimum lot frontage of 12 meters, and it's located next to a block with the zoning of F15 directly to the north, and further F9 further to the north, and also F9 direct south. Now, what it means that this is there's a mixed zoning bylaw in place for the immediate blocks in this neighborhood, and that shows that there is already a mixed lot. The immediate context of this property, 123 Florence Avenue. Now, in terms of built form, as you might know, what can be built on a property with a frontage of 9 meters is more or less very similar to the frontage of what can be built on a property with a frontage of 7.6 meters, which is what we are They both share a single car garage, a raised entrance to one side of the garage, and 2 stories on top of the garage. It's basically what you do on most of these new developments on the lot frontage of 7.6 meters to 10 meters, actually. If you can refer to page 2, please. We're gonna be looking at the lot sizes in this neighborhood and the lot patterns. As you can see, there's a lot of properties with a frontage of 7.6 meters on the first block, just on the west side of Yonge Street, on all those east-west streets, Franklin, Cameron, Florence, Johnston, between Yonge and Botham Road. Now, this has resulted from all these properties with a frontage of 15 meters that were split into 2, which that pattern started not longer than 50 years ago. And the zoning bylaw for that particular block just changed from F15 to F62 just 2 years ago. And what it means that the zoning bylaws that are in place are not being reviewed on a timely manner. That is a demand or pattern of revitalization and change in the neighborhoods. Now, on the second block, these patterns are having a smaller properties with a frontage of. There's already a pattern of having a smaller properties with a frontage of 10 meters, and you can see it on the map to the north. You can see the few properties on Bogart, and you see lots of those examples directly to the south on Cameron and on Franklin. Now, if you please refer to page 3. Thank you. The property itself is now this is the same map. We just in a more detailed scale. The property itself is directly back into a lot of properties with a frontage of 7.6 meters on the south on Cameron Avenue. And in fact, 60% of those lots directly to the south of 123 Florence have a frontage of 7.62 meters to 10 meters. I explained that they share a very similar build form. And also on the same block of 123 Florence, there are a lot of 1-story to half-story bungalows. I don't know if the committee panel had a chance to drive by, and if you know the.
I'll ask you to summarize, please. You're over your 5 minutes.
Yes. Absolutely. There's a lot of single or 1.5-story bungalows that were originally built in 1950s, existing on that block, and they do not necessarily add to the character of the neighborhood. These bungalows, they don't have any architectural significance or any visual appeal to the block, and sooner or later they're expected to be replaced or altered.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have to cut you off, because we have more speaker, and then you'll have a chance to come back. Okay, so
thank you.
And we'll have your questions after. Okay, we have Barbara Hazelwood. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Miss Hazelwood. Okay, you please tell us what's your concern. You have 5 minutes, and I'll start the clock right now.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. And thank you for the opportunity to participate in the hearing. I'm a long-term resident of Florence Avenue, and I live in close proximity to this property. I am very much opposed to what is being proposed at this address. The 2 skinny houses that are proposed to be put into the space where one single house is are not consistent with the look we want for our block or our neighborhood, and are not wanted by the majority of people who reside here. We do not want the character of our neighborhood changed in this way. In recent years, the city has not been paying attention to the impact that the variances and other elements of new builds have on adjacent properties, I can speak to that from a position of experience. There are privacy issues that are being ignored when plans are reviewed that result in changes to your very way of life. I'm sure that the committee is aware, however, that this one is a business proposal and it's profit-driven, and that these people have come into our neighborhood and care only about the profit that can be made by splitting properties and not about the neighborhood itself. We are seeing this happen in many places in the neighborhood, and in some cases by the same quote-unquote agents. The variances that are being asked by this proposal are not minor in nature, and needless to say, negatively impact the surrounding properties and the neighborhood itself. Although we who live here are opposed to what they are doing, they are asking us to be complicit with the variances they need in order for them to do exactly what we don't want them to do. Well, we will not be complicit, and I am here to ask that the committee refuse the proposal. There are perfectly viable houses that can be built within the city bylaws if that house needs to be rebuilt. There is one being rebuilt right now next door to me by a committed resident. No variances were asked. We suggest that the applicants at this address also build within the bylaws. Thank you very much. I have nothing more to add.
Thank you. Just a second, any question to this speaker? No? Okay, so that's the only speaker we have after the agent. So Mr. Hassemi, would you like to come back and address those concerns?
Yes, please. Can I have the exit, the map back on display? I would like to address the last page of the maps. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. So what we see on this map, I'm just taking a few photographs of what's existing on block to the back. As you can see, 123 Florence is shown in red, is directly back into lots of properties with a frontage of 25 feet, which is 7.6 meters. And what these pictures are displaying is that even the existing houses on those bigger lots, they have the same characteristics of what we are proposing on these narrower lots. 109 Florence, 118 Florence, these are some of the neighbors that oppose. Their structure has a very similar width to what we are proposing, and necessarily the structure on the property is not stretching and covering the entire width of the property, which is more something that is in keeping is bylaws. Also on the south side, there's on the Cameron, you see there's a lot of 25 properties with the 25 feet frontages. And I just want to just talk about one of our variances. Most of our variances are very minor in nature. I just want to address one variance, which is side yard setback. By side yard setback to the exterior of our proposals, we're applying with these minimum side yard setback of 1.2. It's only on the interior side that we're asking for 0.6, which gives us the overall setback of 1.2 meters between the two structures that are being proposed. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I don't see them. They're gone. Okay. Any question for this speaker? No? Okay. If not, can I have a motion, please, on the application number 2, which is 123 Florence Avenue?
Mr. Chair, I'll move after taking a close look at the street, which is Florence, it's not Cameron. So after examining that street and the character of that street and the comments that are made by the people who spoke, I'm going to move that this application can be refused.
I have a motion to refuse the application. A second, please. Ms. Sankar, second. All in favor? Okay, unanimously. Sir, unanimously refused. The application is refused. Thank you.
I appreciate your time. Thank you. Have a good day.
Item number 3, which is 19 Swiftdale Place. We have, this is to construct a new dwelling, 10 variances. Staff report has two areas. One is to reduce variance number 1 and number 8 as agreed by the applicant. And secondly, to develop in accordance with setback per site plan. Transportation, no objection. TRCA, no objection, just permits. Forestry condition number 3 and 6 letters of support. So we have here Mr. Hatch. Are you there?
Good morning.
Okay, can you please, we need for the records, we need you to state your name and address, please.
Of course. My name is Jonathan Hatch, and I'm representing 19 Swiftdale Place.
Okay, so the staff is mentioning that you agreed to reduce variance number 1 and 8. Could you please address that in your presentation?
Of course. So in discussions with the planning department, we modified variance 1 from 4.4 to 3.33, and I believe it's also variance
number 8.
8, yes, to 4.44.
Okay.
This is, if you look at the original plans versus the new proposed plans, the deck is now in line with the rear wall of the house, with a very small platform now dedicated off to the side of the house. And this was requested from planning, and we are happy to comply. Would you like a full presentation?
Well, we have one more speaker here, so you have 5 minutes for your presentation.
Absolutely. So,
and we'll come back to you.
Of course. So variance 1 is for the proposed deck, and we are going to be reducing it. The variance 2 is for the proposed second floor deck off of the master bedroom. Now, these decks have been reduced so that they're not over top of the entire area, and it's mainly so that we can view the valley that is towards the southeast corner. And really, that is the true rear yard of the house. And because of the cul-de-sac nature of this lot, that's really the true rear yard. Variance 3 is really for the platform, and this is to overhang and match that deck below. And that has been reduced as well to ensure that it stays within over the deck. Variance 4 is for the driveway. Now, this is just to match the existing driveway that's there, and no changes to that driveway are being proposed currently. Variance 5 is for the main pair wall, 7.81 over 7.5. Now, you'll notice that the main massing of the house is towards the center of the design. In each case, is the shape of the house is in an L shape. So you have a reduced massing towards each side of the neighbors, and this is to minimize the impact to either neighbors, which is why we have broad support within the neighborhood for this project. We're asking for a modest increase over the allowable height to 7.81. We have consulted both neighbors to the east and west, and they have expressed no concerns that we're aware of. Variance 6 is for the second platform of 12.18, and this again is oriented towards the green space at the rear of the property to increase the view. but also to minimize overlook conditions. It's a very well-treated lot, and we felt as though this was one of the best spots we could put it to reduce overlook concerns. Variance 7 is to allow us to build within the existing footprint. This is the rear yard setback, and you'll notice on the site plan we actually maintain the corner of the lot and the existing corners of the building. You'll also notice the orientation on the site plan versus the original survey are essentially the same. They again the house rotates towards the southeast corner of the lot, and that's because that's when you walk the lot, that's the true rear yard of the lot. And so we seek to maintain it. If we were to rotate the house further or change it, it would actually exacerbate the issues. So we felt this was the best case scenario where we kept the original nature of the impacts of the lot and just continued on as it was previously. Finally, variance 8 is for the platforms. This has been pulled in line with the rear wall, as you know, thanks. And this is because of discussions we've had with planning so that we can reduce the impacts to that rear lot line.
That's it?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Okay, yeah, we'll get you back after because we have one more registered person here. Bijan Gianfar, are you there?
Do you hear me?
Yeah. Could you please state your name and address for the records here?
Bijan Gianfar, number 17, Swiftdale Place.
Yeah, and tell us.
Just the neighbor to the 19th.
Okay, and what's your concern?
I'm okay with the variances that I saw. The influence of that property or that new design on mine is, to me, is negligible.
Yeah, I read your letter of September 30 that you support it. So you're here just to support, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So can we get back Mr. Hatch? Well, they may have questions.
Hello. Yes, I am here.
Mr. Hatch, the other person just supports you. I'm getting you back just to see if the staff have the members have any question. Any question for the agent? No? So can I have a motion, please? Mr. Bartolo?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm satisfied that the application here meets the 4 tests, and I'm satisfied that the proponent has worked with the city to take into consideration some of these items. So I'm going to make a motion to approve this application subject to the following amendments. Variance 1, the proposed platform encroach 3.33 meters into the required rear yard setback, and amend item number 8, that the proposed deck project 4.44 meters from the rear wall.
Okay, and is there forestry there? There's forestry.
Yes, and thank you, and I'll make it subject to the standard conditions in the forestry memo.
Thank you. And second, can I have a second, please? Oh, I have two seconds. Mr. Tarodi, go ahead. You're seconding, right?
I second.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. All in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is unanimously approved, subject to those changes that you made and subject to forestry.
Thank you.
Item number 4, which is just a structure at the rear of the property, 1 variance regarding the loss coverage. And Mr. Tony Henriks, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, for the records here, please, we need you to state your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Tony Henriquez, 543 Concord Avenue, and I'm representing the owner for 52A Cork Avenue.
Okay, we don't have any other person registered here. I'll see if do we need any presentation for this? No? Okay, can I have maybe a question or can I have a motion? It's one variance. Ms. Sankar?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair. I see that it is structural and there's no one here to speak to it and staff supports it. So I'll put forward a motion to approve this application as is.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Bartolo, all in favor? Okay. Your application is approved, sir. No condition.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Item number 5, which is 187 BREDONHILL and BAGOT and CATHER, CRESENT and VARNA Drive. We have here registered 5. Mr. Christopher Hall. Mr. Hall, are you there? For item number 5, Mr. Hall, are you there? Is he unmuted?
Mr. Chair and members, Christopher Hall is present and he is unmuted.
Okay, Mr. Hall, again, are you there, please? Do you hear us? Christopher Hall, unmute yourself because we don't hear you.
Christopher Hall, go ahead. You may need to, Mr. Chair, they may need to.
We'll hold on to.
Yeah, we can hold it for now.
Okay, so we hold on. Yeah, okay.
Christopher, if you could log off and log back in and make sure you authorize the use of your microphone through either your laptop or whatever device you're communicating on. We can see you present, but we cannot hear you.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to number 6. Okay, number 6, we have to build a new building, new dwelling, 6 variances, staff report, just a condition, and transportation, no objection. Also, just a notation on the plans, forestry condition number 1, 4 supports on this application. We have one speaker only, Mr. Glenn Robinoff. Mr. Robinoff, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, we still need you to state your name and address.
Yes, I'm Glenn Rubinoff from Rubinoff Design Group, and I'm representing the owner on this application.
Okay, there is no other one speaker. I'll see. Do we need any presentation here? No? Okay. Can I have a motion or questions or motion? Ms. Sankar? Can I have a motion, please? Go ahead.
Trying to unmute there. Okay, I'm ready for a motion, Mr. Chair, through you. I do believe it does meet the 4 tests, and so I'll put forward a motion to approve this application. It'll be subject to the October 6th staff report in that the proposed development be developed substantially in accordance with the wall heights as shown in the front, rear, and side elevations attached. It'll also be subject to transportation conditions. There is one condition that transport has indicated around soft landscaping of the curbs, and then it will be also subject to forestry. That's my motion.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Atarodi, all in favor? Okay, Mr. Robinoff is approved unanimously, okay, with those conditions.
Thank you very much.
Okay. We'll try number 6 again, see if number 5, I mean. Mr. Hall, are you still there? Or are you there? Mr. Christopher Hall. Okay, we'll move to the next one. Item number 7, 115 Riverview Drive, application number 7. We have here Mr. Rose. Mr. Rose, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good morning. We still need you to please say your name and address for the record.
Lauren Rose, 388 Spadina Road.
Thank you. We have one variance here only. There is no other person speaker. There's no other speaker. Do we need a presentation here? No. Can I have?
There are two variances, though.
I'm sorry?
There are two variances.
Yeah, well, I meant one item. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, there's two variances. Yeah, I got them. We have two variances. We have, this is for a pool cabana, two variances, staff report to propose. There is a condition to, thus the building will not be used for living accommodation, and TRCA no objection, and forestry condition number 2. So, any questions or motion, please? Ms. Satarodi?
So through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with the staff condition that the proposed rear yard auxiliary building shall not be used as a living accommodation and also subjected to forestry.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Okay. All right, I see all the lead. So, Mr. Rose, your application is unanimously approved, subject
Thank
to
you.
those conditions.
Thank you.
I'll move on to the next one before we call the. Okay. Item number 8, which is 511 Hounslow Avenue, variance number 8. I mean, the application number 8. And we have here Mr. Hussein Muzaffari. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. It's okay. Could you please state your name and address, please?
Hi, my name is Nushin Muzaffari. I'm here on behalf of my client, owner of 511 HOUNSLOW Avenue.
Okay. We have one more person registered here to speak. Just a second, I'll check. Mr. Moderator, is Mr. Lavoie online?
Yes, the
He's gonna
local
be-
resident that wants to speak is
He's going to be
present.
speaking. Okay, so please go ahead, give us a small presentation. You have 5 minutes for your presentation before we call the other speaker.
Okay, the application is very straightforward. We are proposing a single family dwelling with attached integral garage. The variances are in keeping with the neighborhood, and the planner of the case is supporting the application. We are asking for side setback on both sides. On the east side, it's 1.2 instead of 1.8 meter required setback, and on the west side, the proposed is 1.5. On both sides, this number is only for the front portion of the house, for the 1/3 of the wall at the front, and the rest of the building is complying with the required 6-foot setback on both sides. Variance number 2 is for the deck projection. We are proposing 3.4 meter instead of 2.5. And variance number 3 is for the wall height. We need 7.95 meter of wall height to have the clear height of the for the windows. And while we are asking for wall height variance, the total height of the building is complying with allowed height. Variance number 4 and 7 are about the first floor height under new and old bylaw. We are asking for 1.5 under new and 1.73 under old bylaw. We are asking for 32% of lot coverage, and also the height under the old bylaw is 9.36 meter. The staff is supporting the application, and they are asking that the site plan be tied to the application, and we are absolutely okay with that, to make sure that we don't push the side walls to the requested side setbacks, because as I said, the side setbacks is only for the front portion, and the rest of the wall on both sides is complying with the required setback.
That's it?
Yes.
Thank
I
you.
would be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, we have to call the other person here. We have Monsieur Philippe Lavoie. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So could you please tell us what your concern is, and we'll set you up?
Yes. So actually, my main concern is regarding the coverage area, and maybe it's a question that the agent can reply. But I'm concerned about the management of stormwater, especially with the increase of coverage area, and hopefully that can be addressed. The other one, though, this is a new concern in the sense that the way that things were presented, the setback was said to only be applied, or the variation on the setback only to the front of the house. But based on the plans that I have in front of me right here, that's not accurate. That would also apply to the west side at the back of the house. So maybe they can try to address this particular point. Unless the plans have changed based on what I've received.
Okay. Are you finished? Yeah?
Yes, please.
Okay, we will call the applicant, but in the meantime, any question for this gentleman? No? Okay, so Ms. Muzafferi, can you please respond to those concerns?
Yes, sure. For the lot coverage, what we are proposing is in keeping with what has been approved in the neighborhood for many cases. And for the water management, during the permit drawing preparation, we should have a certified surveyor to prepare a stormwater management plan and grading plan to make sure that the stormwater is properly managed to the sewage system. For this setback, as I said, this is only for the front portion, and the projection that you see on the west side at the rear of the building is a bay window, and it has no foundation wall. It's a cantilevered projection, and it falls under bay definition, and it's allowed to have 30% of the side wall to be projected for 2 feet if it has still 2 feet, at least 2 feet setback from the property line. And this projection complies with that and is not considered in the side setback. As you see on the basement plan, there is no foundation wall for this projection, and only the front portion sticks out for 1 foot, and that is the area that creates this side setback variance. And on both sides, we are improving the existing condition. On the site plan, the existing house is shown with a dashed line, and on both sides, we are improving the existing condition.
Any question for this speaker? No? Okay. Can I have a motion, please? I don't see any hand. Okay, Mr. Bartolo, I see you. Go ahead.
Maybe a little bit of a delay there.
Okay.
But through you, Mr. Chair, I'm satisfied that the the variances being requested here are minor in nature. I understand the previous gentleman's concerns with regards to the stormwater, and that will be handled through the city engineering, the lot grading. And I echo the proponent's comments that while he's concerned about the side yard setbacks, they're actually going to be larger than they are with the current house. And considering all these items, I'm going to make a motion to approve this application, subject that it be built substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing submitted to the Committee of Adjustment as attachment 1 to the provided report.
Thank you. Second? Oh, I had two seconds again. Okay, Mr. Klassen, second. All in favor? Okay. Your application is approved subject to the condition of the staff, which is the developer site plan, okay?
Thank you so much.
Okay, let's go back to that, what is it, number 5?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, let's go back to number 5 and give it a shot.
Number 5 is it Michaela? No?
Hello?
No, I thought.
Can you hear me?
Hall. No, hold a second.
We can hear you, Christopher, yes.
Christopher Hall, yeah. Mr. Hall, are you still there now?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. So we got you back, huh?
Apologies.
Okay, you never left, huh? Okay.
No.
Could you please state your name and address for the records here?
Yes, my name is Christopher Hall, and my address is 100 Commerce Valley Drive West. I'm a planner with WSP.
Okay, we have one more speaker here. Therefore, we need you to make a small presentation.
Sure.
Sorry?
Mr. Chair, I can confirm that the local, the person listed as a planner is not present on the call at this time.
Okay, all right. Mr. Hall, the person who was registered here is not here, so all we have is you. So let me ask.
Okay.
Let me ask the members, do we still need a presentation?
I appreciate presentation.
Okay.
Okay.
Please give us
Certainly.
a presentation, and it take a maximum of 5 minutes.
Sure, certainly. So the purpose of this application is to vary a total of 7 development standards under the former North York bylaw 7625 in order to permit secondary suites within multiple attached dwellings in what we refer to as phases 1D, 1F, A, and 1FB in the Lawrence Heights redevelopment project. Currently, these phases are going through the city site plan application process, and they consist of 23 buildings across 3 phases for a total of 222 units, including TCH rental replacement units and market units. These lands are currently zoned RM6215 under bylaw 1338-2013, which was a site-specific amendment to bylaw 7625. Provisions related to secondary suites are contained in bylaw 7625 and were amended by bylaw 1338-2013. Per bylaw 7625, secondary suites are permitted within 1 family detached dwellings or single family dwellings or semi-detached dwelling units, and the whole of which prior to the introduction of the suite is more than 5 years old. And then they're subject to a series of provisions related to size, layout, orientation, etc. The proposed variances that we're proposing are a culmination of discussions with planning staff that date back to April 2019. One of the key focuses of the approach to introducing secondary suites to Lawrence Heights redevelopment project, as discussed with staff, was to align permissions with those currently found in the citywide bylaw 569-2013, which was amended last year by bylaw 549-2019 for as-of-right zoning for secondary suites. That amendment permitted secondary suites in townhouses citywide. It removed requirements for the original house to be at least 5 years old, and it removed unit size restrictions and reduced parking requirements. This also brought 569 in line with the city's official plan policies for secondary suites. Given that our subject lands fall under site-specific bylaw 1338, we weren't included in the citywide permissions for secondary suites within townhouses. So under bylaw 7625, townhouses are defined as multiple attached dwellings which are buildings consisting of a series of one-family dwelling units, each having direct access from outside. So as I mentioned, we're looking at essentially varying 7 development standards that are found in 7625 to better align with the provisions of 569. The first variance is to update the definition of second suites in 7625 to better reflect the definition found in 569. And the key really is that the existing application definition for secondary suites is subordinate to the dwelling unit. And so that's what we're essentially importing from 569. We want the secondary suite to reflect that it's subordinate to the main dwelling unit. The second variance seeks permissions for essentially townhouses, multiple attached dwellings in 569, and it removes the requirement for the unit to be at least 5 years old. Lawrence Heights is going to be a redevelopment project, so all the units will be new build. The third variance seeks to align the permitted floor area for secondary suites with that of 569, where bylaw 765 generally establishes that the gross floor area of the secondary suite be less than the rest of the gross floor area of the unit in which it is located. Bylaw 569 establishes that the second suite be no more than 45% of the unit in which it is located. So that's what we're bringing in. The fourth and fifth variances are, again, to align with 569. We're removing provisions found in 7625, which aren't found in 569, which are related to the location of the secondary suites within the units. And they require that the second suite be divided horizontally from the dwelling unit that it's located within. And the city's kind of moved, well, the city has moved away from this approach to restricting the location and layout of the secondary suite, giving owners a little bit more flexibility in how they determine the internal layout of the primary dwelling and the secondary suite. So that's the perfect, that is the reason for those two variances. The sixth variance is looking to integrate the remissions of bylaw 7625 related to the entrance to a private suite with those of bylaw 569, also accounting for the conditions where exclusive access to a second suite is from a common hallway or a stairwell inside the dwelling unit. And lastly, the seventh variance is looking to apply similar language as contained in bylaw 569 regarding exterior alterations to accommodate a secondary suite within existing units.
I think you used your 5 minutes and up. So can you please summarize?
Sure. Yeah. So really, it was just the last item was to draw some of the language from 569 to address the exterior alterations. As I mentioned, these are all new units, but this essentially future-proofs any units down the road where opportunities exist to retroactively add secondary suites where those weren't originally built into the units at the time of construction.
Let's see if there's any questions. Okay, we said this.
Sure thing.
Okay. Any questions? Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Hall. I wonder if you could just say in one or two sentences as what's the overall purpose of doing this?
Well, essentially, bylaw 7625 is not aligned any longer with the official plan policies of the city, which are seeking to introduce secondary suites more readily to increase the availability of rental units. So the idea here is to bring the bylaw in line with the current zoning thinking and also the official plan.
And that will accomplish what when the structures are constructed?
I'm sorry, I missed the last part of your question.
No, yes, and so what will that accomplish in the long term once the structures are built?
Yes, so it'll permit secondary suites within townhouse units, which will essentially contribute to the city's availability of rental units.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good question. In July 2019, there were 9 applications approved. Were they the same thing as Mr. Klassen mentioned? Were they used for the same purpose?
No, no. Those applications were tied specifically to a different block, and that block was 1E. That had a number of different variances tied to the designs of the individual buildings. There was one application which was for design standards across the larger block, which was phase 1E. And then the other 8 applications were for the individual buildings to meet certain design standards.
Okay.
It didn't have anything to do with secondary suites, and they were different phases from this.
Okay, thank you. Any other question? No? Oh, Mr. Bartolo?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. With regards to variance number 4, I can see in section from the plans that you're proposing here in the floor plans that what you're effectively doing is putting secondary suites in all of these townhouses, and they all appear to be on the lower level. So effectively a lower level or basement unit within the townhouse. However, why is there a requirement to have vertical delineation between the units permitted as opposed to just a horizontal?
The mandate that we had was to try and bring 7625 in line with the 569 bylaw, which had removed that requirement, I think largely to give homeowners a bit of flexibility. So those policies were really just taken aside or taken away to better align with 569. It's the more modern policy.
Okay.
Right, and I can see here in section that you guys have this space highlighted with purple, which I guess denotes the one entrance which leads to the like a common entrance which leads to the
common space. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Which I can see why you would need some vertical delineation. I'm assuming that's what it's for. Really, where I'm going with this is my main concern is that you don't want townhouses being chopped into like sub townhouses with a whole bunch of tiny rooms that don't really are non-functional or anything like that. Not to say that this application or these designs have that feature, but I'm just contemplating some possible knock-on consequences of it.
Yes, well, part of the intent was to update the definition of what a secondary suite was, which would ultimately require a cooking space and sanitary access to washrooms. So by definition, you wouldn't be able to have a secondary suite which is just a bedroom.
Right, and you still have to conform to all the minimum OBC building requirements for room sizes
and building code and whatnot.
Yeah, okay, I understand. I think that's it for me, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other question? If not, can I have a motion, please? Mr. Klassen?
Yes, yes, Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve this application.
Okay, there is no conditions. Yeah, there is no conditions. Second, Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Okay, unanimously. Okay, sir, your application is approved.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay.
Apologize for the technical difficulties at the outset.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Number 9 now, right? Okay, variance number 9, which is 81. Item number 9, which is 81 Germain Avenue, to permit a dwelling currently under construction. There is 4 variances. Staff report has condition to use permeable materials for the driveway. Transportation, no objection, just one recommendation, one condition, and 2 letters of opposition. So we have here Mr. Jonathan Benskowski. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Could you please state your name for the records here?
Yes, Jonathan Benskowski, 301 Kiwaton Avenue.
Thank you. We have 2 more people here to speak, and therefore we need you to make a small presentation. You have 5 minutes and maximum, and I'll start the clock right now.
Yes, I've actually put in a request for deferral last week. I did speak with the adjacent neighbor, Mr. Ferguson, located at 79 Saint Germain. We've spoken and we're going to be able to add some additional green space into the rear yard. We're just not able to do that at this time. So I would like to request a deferral so we can add some additional green space.
Okay, the deferral is to modify the construction or what?
Yes, the permeable area of the rear yard. We're able to add some additional green space.
Okay.
To alleviate the concerns of the adjacent neighbor.
Okay, I have to see if there is anyone online. We have here registered Mr. Bob Ferguson. Are you there? Mr. Ferguson,
Yes,
are you
I'm
there?
here.
Okay.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
There is your name, please, and your address.
My name is Bob Ferguson. My address 79 Saint Germain.
Thank you. We have a request here for deferral, and if it's deferred, we're not going to discuss it today. Are you okay with the deferral, or you have a question?
I'm okay with the deferral.
Thank you. The next one is Gordon Butler. Mr. Butler, are you there? Mr. Butler?
Mr. Chair and members, Gordon is present and he is unmuted. So if you'd like to say something, he's more than welcome to.
Okay, Mr. Butler, could you please make sure you have only one device on at a time or on the phone, and because we don't hear you. You're cutting off there. Mr. Butler, could you try again? He's there, huh?
Mr. Chair and members, Gordon Butler is present and he is unmuted. He is able to attempt to speak.
He must have some problem with his equipment. Mr. Butler, if you hear us, we don't hear you. You must have some problem in your equipment there. Could you please take a look and see what problem there is, and we'd like to hear from you. We still don't hear you.
Can I send a chat?
Mr. Butler, we can hear you now.
Okay, Mr. Butler, yeah, we hear you now. Did you hear what's happening? There is a request. Yeah, could you please hold 1 second? Could you tell us your name and your address, please?
My name is Gordon Butler. I am at 78 Fairlawn Avenue.
Okay, there is a request for deferral. If we defer it, we're not going to discuss it today. Are you okay with the deferral?
I am okay with the deferral. My question would be then, when will we see new plans?
This will be decided between the agent and the staff, and when it's done, they will send the notification to all those who are entitled to receive another notification. Okay?
No. Okay. Now, second question is, it is understood that the construction is complete.
No, we're not. Excuse me. We're not discussing anything about the plan or construction. Nothing. All we have request is for deferral, and if you're okay with the deferral, we're going to move ahead with it. Okay.
How long can they defer?
We usually put it sunny day usually, and the agent will be working with the staff to see when it's available for the hearing again. Okay.
All right, I am okay with the deferral.
Thank you. That's all we want to know. That's all we want to know. Staff, could we?
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Mr. Brzonski, are you back? Benskowski.
Yes, I'm here. All I would ask, Mr. Chair, is Mr. Butler did not submit anything online, so I don't have a way of trying to communicate with him like I did with Mr. Ferguson.
Okay. That's okay. He registered here and he has no problem with the deferral. Now we're going to entertain the question of deferral. So for the deferral, do you have any question for Mr. Benjowski? No? Okay. Can I have a motion to defer, please?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, I'll motion to approve the deferral request, giving the applicant a chance to discuss the landscaping matter with the neighbors.
Sunny Day, yeah? Sunny Day, thank you.
Yes, yes, Mr. Chair, sine die.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Tarodi, all in favor? Okay, your application is approved. I'm saying the deferral is approved, is deferred sine die, and you have to discuss with the staff when it's coming, when there is available a spot for it, for you to come back, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 10, which is 355 Kiwaton Avenue. This is to build a third floor addition and a two-story addition with basement and rear deck. There are 5 variances, forestry condition number 3, 2 letters of objection, and 26 letters of support. We have here 2 speakers besides the agent. Mr. Hatch, are you there?
Yes, I am. And I'm here representing 355 Kiwaton
Okay,
Avenue.
yeah, just give us your name and your own address, please.
Jonathan Hatch, 355 Kiwaton Avenue.
Okay, all right. Okay, we have 2 more speakers here, and therefore we need you to make a presentation. You have 5 minutes maximum. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. So as you know, this is a 2-story addition with a new 3rd story planned. 5 variances requested. Variance 1 is an inline setback in lieu of 0.45 meters. This is an existing condition with a 0 setback. We seek to maintain the existing setback and create an inline. Complying with the rear yard, with the side yard setback would only create harder maintenance conditions, as the neighboring house at 359 is also at an almost 0 setback of 0.1. Variance 2 is for 17.93 depth in lieu of 17 meters. This was designed to balance the rear yards. As you can see, the at 359 projects far into the rear yard, and we are looking to balance it so that we are approximately in line. Variances 3, 4, and 5 are for a proposed height of 9.32 in lieu of 9 meters. This is a very modest increase over the bylaw of 0.32 or 1 foot. You'll see the existing floor heights have not been added to. The 3rd floor proposed is a modest 2.48 meters or 8'2". 3rd stories are allowed in this district. We feel it's not reasonable to be trying to create a 7'2" ceiling height to comply with the current bylaw, which is why we're asking for this very modest 1 foot additional height. And you can see the addition is on top of the existing house, and the impacts of the street are minimized since the original facade is kept. The addition is set back behind the existing peak line. You can see from the photos submitted, and by walking the street, this type of infill housing is quite normal on the street. We're maintaining the character on the street and adding a modest addition on top. Instead of demolishing the house and starting from scratch, we believe this is preferred, maintaining the existing housing stock. In our research around the neighborhood, we found variance applications for height ranging from 9.09 to 11.07 meters. We fall well within this standard at 9.32. Keewatin has a very diverse built form. You can see from our cover letter, ranging from existing housing stock with new 3rd floors to new 3-story homes with integral garages and flat roofs. We believe that this falls within the standards of the current and previous developments that are happening on the street. This is a modest proposal to develop existing housing, and we have broad support. There was 1 additional letter that was supported, so we have 27 letters of support. So we feel this is minor in nature, and I would ask for your approval.
Thank you. You're finished, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. We have 2 more speakers here. Paula Salvador, are you there? Ms. Salvador? Oh, yeah.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We hear you, but we hear a lot more. Could you? Yeah, that's it. Now, Now,
Okay, now I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
yeah, we hear you. Could you please state your name and address for the records here?
Paula Salvador, 353 Kiwaton Avenue.
Thank you. Tell us what your concern is.
Our major concern is with variance number 4. We are on the side facing 355. The maximum height for side exterior main walls facing our side lot is 7 meters. This proposed to be 9.32 meters. What that means for us, our house is only 2.2 meters away from the neighbor's wall on the other side of the little passageway. This will seriously impact the light coming into our side windows, which the east side is our only source of side light because our other wall on the west is a shared semi-wall. We lose light. We will also lose privacy because with the third floor addition, and in particular their proposed balcony, that balcony will look directly into our backyard. As well, they have proposed, they've closed up a small existing bathroom window, which horribly looked directly into our existing bathroom window. We appreciate that. But in its place, they are proposing a new window just 2 feet further south, which will be 5 feet wide, which will possibly look into our bathroom window, probably, but will definitely look directly into the side of our back patio. And then finally, we are hugely concerned about the structural strength of the existing block foundation to support the weight of a third floor addition. These little old houses were built in 1929. Those walls and that block foundation are 90 some years old.
Miss Salvador, we don't entertain the structure here. We have variances, and if you have any more question on the variance, I know you have problem with that particular variance. As far as structure and building, we do not entertain it here. So.
Okay, I'm finished dealing particularly with variance number 4 and variance number 3.
4 and 3. Thank you. Just a second. Any question for this speaker? No? Okay. We have next speaker, which is Mr. Howard. Paul Howard, are you there?
I am here.
Oh, thank you. Could you speak up a little bit, please?
Yes, of course. Does this better?
We hardly hear you. Could you speak up, please?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Well, you're very fade there. We still don't hear you very well. I don't know what you're using there. Sorry, you hear it? So could you please speak up?
How about now? Is that better?
Okay, that's better. Yeah, your name and your address, please.
My name is Paul Howard, and I live at 359 Kiwaton Avenue.
Thank you. So what's your concern?
We share the same concern that Ms. Salvador shared with regard to the 5 items, variances that are being requested. Specifically, our focus is on variance number 4, which for clarification is requesting an increase in the side wall height from 7 meters to 9.32 meters, obviously a 2.32 meter increase, as not a 0.32 meter increase as was stated earlier. Our objection to this is largely on 2 fronts. One is the neighborhood impact, and the second is our impact to our own property. First, with regard to the neighborhood, our view is that this requested design and the variance associated with it is not only out of character to the neighborhood, but is also completely out of character to the proximate houses. I've reviewed the supporting material that the applicant has provided, where they list 30 properties in the general neighborhood of 355 Kiwaton. I do note that on that list of 30 properties, only 13 are actually on Kiwaton Avenue. In fact, only 12 are on our block of Kiwaton, which is approximately a 500-meter block stretching from Mount Pleasant Road to Mount Hope Cemetery. So it's a big block. Of the 57 houses that are on the south side of Keewatin, there are only 4 on the applicant's submission that have the side walls above 7 meters, none of which are at all close to number 355. Those two are at 261 and 283. In fact, if I look at the north side of the street, there are 53 houses on the block of Keewatin between Mount Pleasant and Mount Hope Cemetery, and only 2 on the north side have main side walls above the limit. In fact, those are at 8.09 meters and 8.00 meters, and again, much to the west of the proposed renovation at 355 Keewatin. Photos provided by both the applicant as well as by us in our letter of objection show the roof line for 355 Keewatin as well as the adjacent houses. The proposed increase of the side wall would raise the roof line in effect by 8 feet approximately, or 2.32 meters. In the applicant's cover letter, which is also submitted, they state that 3-story homes are the norm across the street. Well, that's true, but it's on the north side of the street, not on the south side of the street. And the impact that we're concerned about as it relates to our house and our neighborhood is on the south side of the street. Or if I'm facing the south side of the street, I can't even see the north side of the street unless I have, eyes in the back of my head. The applicant also further states that, quote, the impact to the street is minimized. I respectfully disagree with this comment and would put it to the committee that a 9-foot high box on top of that house will dramatically impact the street, especially with every house to the east and the west having a consistent roof line right now. For clarity, we have no objections to a 3rd story per se. A peak roof design would address our objections, and we wouldn't object to the proposal. The requested variance we feel is not minor in nature. It is a significant request for variance as it represents an approximate 33% increase on the height allowed of the side walls. Now, secondly, with regard to the impact to our property, we have 2 skylights that were put into our house when we renovated our house, which we renovated completely within the bylaws of the city and did not have to go to committee adjustment for with regard to the building of our property. The 2 skylights are the only source of light for 2 areas in our house. One is the master bathroom, and the second is a hallway. A 9.5-foot wall being built as an extension to the existing side wall, 8 feet of which approximately is against the zoning bylaw, we would lose significant material light into those 2 areas of the house, as well as sight lines of the sky. This would result in a significant detriment to the enjoyment of our house long-term and a permanent issue of privacy arrays with the overlook from their new deck into the hallway, which connects our children's bathrooms to their bedrooms. With regard to the skylight in our master bathroom, obviously there's a long-term impact with regard to the light that is the only source of light into that room. And also, now the view of the sky would be replaced by staring at an 8-foot wall. Additionally, there's a short-term impact, which I'm not sure is a purview of the committee or not, but nonetheless, with regard to the construction, where we would have a complete loss of privacy into our bathroom, obviously the most intimate room in the household. The requested variance against number 4, the 4th variance, would result in a material impact on the enjoyment of our home, not because of the renovation per se.
Mr. Howard, you're over your 5 minutes. Can you please summarize?
Nope, I think I've got right to the end. I respectfully would request that the committee not approve this application given those concerns.
Thank you. Just hold, see if you had any questions. Any questions for this gentleman? No? Okay, Mr. Hatch, could you come back and address the concerns of Mr. Salvador and Mr. Howard?
Yes, of course. So in regards to the main firewall height variances in terms of the height bylaw, this is being a little bit misconstrued. Simply explained, when it comes to the main firewall heights, 2 sides can be 9 meters, and then 2 sides need to meet the 7 meters. So if you have a slope at the front of the house, which we have, and then you were to replicate the same slope towards the rear, and then reduce the roof line by a single foot, we would comply with the height bylaw. So what we're asking for is really to not increase the amount of roof line that would shade the house to the north, but to actually have a square area, which would actually reduce the amount of shading, and it would actually reduce the impact to that house. Now, in regards to the extra foot that we're asking for, this is just so that we can have an 8'2" ceiling height on the third floor. As you have heard, third floors are allowed on this street, and we feel as though this is a very reasonable request over the bylaw, so we can have a third floor that's usable. In regards to privacy, we did discuss how we were willing to put a privacy fence towards 359 on the deck side. Now the deck is towards the rear, so to see these skylights would mean, and you'll notice the deck is actually reduced on that flat roof plan. It's not towards the far edge of the plan. So we're considering the privacy of the neighbor when we designed it. So you would have to actually get over the roof line and peek around the edge of the vertical wall to be able to actually see onto the roof line. So we feel as though we've done everything in our power to ensure that the privacy of their house has been maintained as much as possible. In regards to the 353, they also had issues of privacy as well, and the same things about the decks can be said as we did reduce the deck. It's not the full width in order to maintain much of the privacy. There is a full driveway width between houses, so we feel as though the light impacts are as best as we can address them. We didn't go for 10 feet, 11 feet. This area is supporting very large height variances across the street. You'll see from my map that I've provided in the cover letter that there are a myriad of third stories on both sides of the street, including, you'll see from the photos I've produced, photos of 3 stories on our side of the street as well. So we feel as though we are, and in fact, some of the photos actually match very closely with what we are proposing. So it's not, I would assert that this is the character of the street. In regards to the engineering issues, obviously this is going to be reviewed by a structural engineer, city planner, examiners, and the city inspectors.
Okay, are you finished?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see if there's any questions. Any question for this gentleman? Mr. Bartolo, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Could you elaborate on variance number 4? This is the one in contention. You had made a comment about sloping the roofs earlier, and just wrapping my head around how sloping the front and rear roof will affect the side yard height. Although I understand it'll taper it, but this your comment was that only 2 of the facades need to meet that criteria. But well, the variance is for side yards specifically.
Of course, yeah. When you go through that variance in detail and how you read that variance, it's for the exterior side walls. So the bylaw essentially wants you to build in if we were to simply draw something, or if you were to look at my side elevation, you can see there's a very gradual existing roof line. If I were just to continue that line all the way to my flat roof, and then replicate a very similar angled roof line at the rear, I would still be allowed to have a flat roof. And the impact would be I would have more of an angle on this house that would be shading the neighbor. I would still need the 0.32 variance for the extra height for the flat roof, but it would actually be a greater impact to the neighbor. So that's why I say it's really only a 1 foot increase over the bylaw for this variance, is that by doing it square, we're actually reducing the impact and shading to that eastern neighbor.
So what you're saying is by making it square, you're making it smaller and more efficient, but if you tapered it, it would have to be larger to accommodate the living space.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's all for me, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other question? Okay. If not, can I have a motion, please? Mr. Bartolo, do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll put forward a motion here, Mr. Chair. Sorry, I just gotta go back to the proper page. So I will put forward, sorry, excuse me for 2 seconds while I navigate this, this PDF. Yeah, I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application. And I'm just looking for the condition, any other conditions that were attached to it, subject to the conditions noted in the forestry memo. And then that's my motion.
Yeah, there is only forestry. Second, Ms. Sankar, second. All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, sir, your application is unanimously approved, subject to just the recommendation of forestry.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Item number 11, which is 9 Faith Avenue. Again, application number 11. Miss Evangelista, are you there?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Good
I'm
afternoon.
Evangelista on behalf of,
Okay,
how are you?
Fine, thank you.
I'm
Just,
here on behalf of the owners of 9 Faith.
yes, just tell us please your name and address because it has to be recorded on the voice there.
Ida Evangelista, 53 Bentworth Avenue, Toronto.
Thank you. We don't have anybody else registered here. I'll see if we need the presentation. Here we have a new dwelling, 4 variances, staff report, just a condition, forestry condition number 3, and they were opposing letters, 9 opposing, 1 petition of 8 and 1 letter. So do we need a presentation? No? Okay. So any question or should I have a motion? Ms. Sankar, please. Please go ahead.
Okay, through you, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve this application. I'll make it subject to the September 29th staff report, and the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the east elevation and west elevation drawings. Date stamped as received on September 15th and was submitted to the Committee of Adjustment. It'll also be subject to forestry.
Thank you. Second. Mr. Bartolo, all in favor? Okay. Ms. Evangelista, your application is unanimously approved, subject to those 2 conditions, okay?
Thank you and have a nice day.
You too. Item number 12, which is 274 Cornelius Parkway. This is a application to reconstruct the existing garage, 1 variance, staff report is just 1 condition to attach to site plan. And here we have 2 registered people, the agent and 1 more. Mr. Nguyen, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, could you please speak up a little bit?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, you're speaking far from the hall. You must be in another room. Could you please state your name and address? No. Come close to the phone. You're speaking far away. We don't hear you. Okay, a little bit better. If you can do a little bit more.
Okay. 274 Cornelius Parkway, -10
Okay. We have 1 more speaker here, and we need you to make a presentation for a maximum of 5 minutes, but you're going to have to speak a little bit louder and also speak to the phone and don't be far away from the phone, please.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Chair.
Excellent. Excellent.
And I am the agent for Mr. Nguyen.
Okay.
And he is part of the owner
Okay.
And I don't know about speaking with the people. Is there anything else that we should be doing to facilitate this?
I'm sorry, we're losing you here. We're losing you. I don't know what kind of equipment you have there, but we're losing you. Could you please speak up again?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes, stay there.
Okay, I think it was just the reception.
Okay.
Okay, my name is David Belamonte at 1435 Islington Avenue. And I am registered to speak today on behalf of the owner. And he was trying to state his name and address to you seconds ago.
Yeah. Yeah, we're confused here a little bit. Could you please state your name again and who you're acting for?
Mr. Chairman, he's the agent for the applicant. There is no opposition on this file.
Oh, there is another one here.
David Dalimonte just spoke. There's two people, they're both agents. One is the owner, one's the agent. So there is no opposition to this application.
Okay, all right.
David, are you the agent?
Yes, I am.
And Nugent is the owner?
That is correct.
Okay, so there's no opposition to
Okay, so there's no opposition. Thank you. Okay, so do we need a presentation here? No? Okay, so we don't need the presentation. Could you please give you want to make a motion? Please go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I do believe this application does meet the four tests. I put forward a motion to approve this application. I'll make it subject to the staff report dated September 25th, and that the property be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan and east side elevation drawings attached to the Committee of Adjustment. That's it.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Satarodi, all in favor? Thank you. Your application is approved. Okay, subject to that condition for the planning.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Jeez, I couldn't hear a word he was saying. Item number 13, which is 33 Bond Avenue. This is to construct a two-story front additions, two variances, forestry only. Mr. I don't know, Viorel Rousseau, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, if you hear me.
Yeah, we hear you. There is no other person. Just state your name and address, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Viorel Rousseau. I am the owner of 33 Bond Avenue, Toronto, M3B 3
Thank you. Do we need a presentation? I don't think so. Okay, so can I have a motion, please? Mr. Bartolo?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll put forward a motion to approve this application subject to the requirements of the Urban Forestry Memo 10.
Thank you. Second? Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Okay, your application is approved subject to forestry, okay?
Thank you so much.
Item number 14, which is 38 Gilgorm Road. This is to construct a third-story addition and renovation, 6 variances. Staff report, modify variance number 2 per applicant, and modify number 5 for the FSI. Mr. Mr. Moskal? David Moskal, please. You're there, huh?
I'm present.
Okay. There is no other person speaking here, but we need you to tell us what you're doing here because you want to change some, you want to modify some variances, right?
Correct.
Okay, so tell us, please, what you do and do.
Okay, it's Dave Moskal here, 14 Augustus Terrace. I'm the agent for the owner at 38 Gilgorm Road. The proposal is to construct a third-story addition in line with the existing second-story detached dwelling. The client lives in a community that is predominantly 3-story detached dwellings with at-grade integral garages at grade. 9 homes across from 38 Gilmore Road are 3 stories with garages. including the two adjacent neighbors to the north, number 40 and number 44. Two small one-story bungalows, number 30 Gilgorm is sold, and the other one at number 32 Gilgorm is for sale. And we predict that these will be developed to a larger homes in the future. Now, for the building length, the proposed third floor addition will be built in line with the existing second floor wall. The length of the third floor addition is 15.66 meters, which is less than the permitted length of 17 meters. It is the existing front addition that, added to the length of the existing dwelling, triggers a building length variance. This is an existing condition. Roof eaves. The client will reduce the roof eave projection. The new proposed projection will be 0.15 meters and are 1.14 from the lot line. This satisfies recommendations by the community planner, North District. Her name was Sharon Yazdani.
Okay, so could you please just give us the changes that you are making?
I'm getting, yes. Now we're getting to building heights. The ceiling heights for the proposed third floor will be at a standard 8 foot.
Variances, what variance number and what you're changing it to?
The building, that would be the building height. We're not changing any building height. We're just going to maintain an 8 foot high ceiling height with a very low pitched roof.
Excuse me, hold 1 second.
Mr. Moscal, the chair has asked at the beginning, are you making any changes? And you said yes. We need to know what changes you're making.
Oh, the roof changes was for the roof eaves.
So tell us, from the notice, tell us what changes you're making.
The client will reduce the new eaves, so the new proposed projection will be 0.15 meters and are 0.14 from the lot line. This would satisfy the recommendations from the planner.
The staff, the planner said you're changing variance number 2 from 0.01 to 0.14 meter.
Correct.
So you're changing that. And then to modify number 5 to no more than 85. That you don't have to address it. We'll have to address it because they're asking for a maximum of 0.85 on variance number 5.
I'll address that in my argument.
Well, we don't need an argument. Give us just the changes that you want to make so far.
So far, it would just be the roof eave projection.
Okay, and you don't want to change anything else?
Correct.
Okay, well, go ahead, finish your 5 minutes and we'll make a decision.
Okay, now regarding the floor space index, the existing 2-story dwelling exceeds the maximum permitted floor space index by 4.5%. So any proposed addition will require a variance for the FSI, or gross floor area. To reduce to an 85% floor space index would downsize the addition by 270 square feet. The ideas for the third-story addition were design ideas from the new and existing 3-story dwellings surrounding the properties. The proposed new third-story addition has been designed to fit appropriately with the streetscape of Gilgorm Road. Its addition, third floor size, existing density, massing, curb appeal are consistent with the homes in the community. As I mentioned, that 9 homes across the street from Gilgorm are all 3 stories. A reduction of the 270 feet from the third floor design would produce a tiered wedding cake structure. Because if we were to reduce this square footage in size on the third floor, we would reduce it from the front, and that's where it would not be consistent with the homes in the area. This would not be to the client's desire and design wishes, and as an economical design, curb appeal would not be a desirable addition for the adjacent neighbors and street. The hardship prevails that owners build in line with existing walls, and note that third floor addition is set back from the front wall of the 1-story addition below. This provides a desired curb appeal and provides unobstructed front yard sightlines to the adjacent neighbors. To the north, there was a property at 70 Gilgorm Road, was approved May 18, 2017 for a 3-story detached with integral garage, brand new house with an FSI of 0.98 times the area of the lot. If approved, client will delete the 3rd-story rear sun deck, which projects out from the rear back wall and has an area.
Okay, you're over your 5 minutes, so Can you please
And 8 letters of
summarize?
support.
Okay, can you summarize,
I'm
please?
just going to state that we do have 8 letters of support, and most importantly, we have the neighbors adjacent and to the rear and to the front of his house.
Okay, so
And it's
that's it. We'll come back to you. Any question for this gentleman? Mr. Bartolo, you had a question? No? Okay, so any comment or motion? Mr. Klassen?
So Mr. Chair, I'll move to accept the proposal with the changes that have been made to variance 2 on the roof eaves and setback on the north lot line is changed to 0.14, if I understood.
Yes.
But I will not approve variance number 5, though.
Okay, so if I understand well, the variance number 5 it will be refused. Is that correct?
That's right.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
thank you.
And there is also,
That's it.
that's all.
Yeah,
That's it.
there is no forestry. Thank you. Second, please. Can I have second? No second? Okay, so the motion failed. Do I have another motion? I have two hands. Okay, Mr. Bartolo took off his hand. So Ms. Sankar.
Okay, through you, Mr. Chair, I'll make a new motion, and I do believe with the letters of adjacent support and to the front and back, and that there was no one else to speak to this, I will put forward a motion to approve this application. It will be made with the changes made here today by the applicant himself, that variance number 2. I thought I had heard him say that he had changed 0.3 meters to something else. But, you know, I'll just double check. And our 0.14 meters from the north lot line, but I thought the projection as well, he had changed, and maybe I'll need to hear exactly what that is. And I will, that's my motion.
Okay, so do you want to hear him first, or you want to go ahead with it?
Yeah, did he say that he was, I thought I had heard him say something like 0.15 meters first. So maybe if he could just step in to say that. I want to accept the changes that he had made.
Mr. Moscal, are you changing it to 1.14 or 0.15?
0.14 is going to be the setback from the property line to the tip of the rainwater leader, the eaves troughs.
Okay, okay, thank you. So that's,
okay, and then
so that's what Ms. Sankar is saying, right? Now you're not doing anything.
Sorry, just to clarify, by making it 0.5, that they suck it in so that it's 0.14 from the property line. So the projection is 0.15 and it's 0.14 from the property.
Yes, that's right. Now.
So that's what I had heard. He said 0.5 meters and are 0.14 meters from the north lot line.
Yeah, you're right. That's
okay. So we kept addressing only what's on the north lot line, but it's really, he also changed the projection of the eaves as well. So I want to, that's my motion. And
Mr. Chairman, can we have clarification? I believe the variance is going to read the proposed eaves project 0.3 meters and are 0.14 meters from the north lot line.
Right.
That's in accordance with what was in planning.
That's exactly what.
Now, can we get the agent to confirm that? Because I'm getting confused here. What is being said?
I had dealings with the area planner, and we came up with a solution that she didn't want to see the eaves projecting basically 0.01 from the property line. So I said, we will project with an eave and the eaves trough 6 inches out or 0.15, and that leaves us 0.14 from the tip of the eave to the property line.
So that's in accordance with what's in the staff report.
Yeah,
Correct. Yes. Oh, yes.
1.4. Okay, and so that's the only, there is no recommend. Now, you're not making anything about the FSI variance number 5, no? Okay.
No, sir.
Okay,
No.
okay. Do you have a second? Mr. Bartolo, second. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, there is an opposing party here, and I'll vote with the opposing party, and I won't vote for the motion because I like to follow the staff report that has to modify the FSI. So, do I have a second? Do you have another, Ms. Sankar? I mean, Ms. Tarodi? Ms. Tarodi?
Yes. Through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with the following changes. Variance number 2 to be read that the proposed eve projection is 0.3 meter and or 0.14 meter from the north lot line as per applicant request. Variance number 5, the proposed floor space index will be 0.85 times of the lot of the area as per staff recommendation.
Thank you.
And no forestry, no other conditions.
No forestry. Thank you. Second. Do I have a second? Mr. Klassen? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, so I'll vote for the motion and we'll approve the variance, I mean the application as recommended, as approved with the 0.14 and the FSI to maximum of 0.85. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 15, which is 3 Green Valley Road, and that is to construct a new dwelling. What's that? This is a new dwelling, 8 variances. TRCA report, no objection. Staff report is recommending a series of reduce variance number 3, eliminate variance number 4, and condition, and 3 letters of objection. So we have here only one registered speaker, Mr. Jim Kotsopoulos. Are you there?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Yes, I am.
Okay, and could you please, could you tell us what that background is? Could you tell us what's going on with that background noise?
I'm not too sure, sir.
Oh, he's not on your end, eh? Okay. So could you please tell us, state your name and address for the records here?
Jim Kotsopoulos, sir, 27 Fieldflower Crescent, Richmond Hill, Ontario.
Okay, so there is no other person registered here. And let me ask the members, do we need a presentation? No, we don't need presentation. Okay, so
sorry, through
yeah.
you, Mr. Chair, I appreciate explanation regarding the building length.
Okay, Mr. Kotsopoulos, are you listening?
I am, sir.
Okay, there is a question regarding the length. I don't know what's going on here.
Mr. Chair, if I can, yes, I will answer that. Before, I just want to clarify, sir, that we have now revised minor variance request number 3 for a proposed building height of 9 meters.
Number 3, 9 meters, yeah.
And sir, yes, sir, and we've eliminated in its entirety minor variance request number 4.
Okay, so the two changes you're making, number 3, you're changing it to 9 meters, and the to eliminate variance number 4.
Correct.
Okay,
Eliminate number 4, correct.
right. Okay. Any
Mr. Chair,
Miss
this is the,
Jim,
yes, this
Jim,
is the,
sorry. May I interrupt for a second? Jim, do you have the YouTube channel running right now?
nope, I don't have anything.
No.
Okay, because we're getting feedback.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Must be here. Okay, let me ask Miss Atarodi. He's changing number 3 to 9 meters and eliminated number 4. Do you still need some more questions? Or you're okay?
Yes, I'm okay. But I also have a question and explanation regarding the building length.
Sir, there is a question about building length. What would you like to know?
Mr. Chair, this is a ravine lot that is noticeably constrained in its ability to site the building. It narrows at the front and widens at the back, and we have a development limit that we cannot protrude any further into the rear. And for the length, sir, all we're doing is we're just rounding out the existing rear in order to make it more contiguous, and also to balance it with the current building relationship with the 2 lots on either side of us. Right now, the existing dwelling is well behind the property being number 5. So there it is, sir. So you could see the symmetry at the rear will be the same as number 1. And then at the front, it will be the same as number 5. Whereas right now, the existing dwelling is behind, noticeably between number 1 and number 5. So we feel that this is a better juxtaposition, sir, of the building siting relative to the 2 adjoining properties.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, so if there's no question, can I have a motion, Miss Atarodi? Yes?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with the following changes. Variance number 3, the height will change to 9 meters, and variance number 4 eliminated. And also would like to add the staff condition that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the building length as shown on the site plan drawing attached to this report. And forestry approved also. Subjected to forestry.
Is there forestry? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Second, Miss Sankar. Second. All in favor? Okay, sir. Your application is unanimously approved based on those 2 conditions that you made. The number 3 is changing. Number 4 is eliminated, and the condition from the staff and forestry. We're going to number 16. 16, 253 Manor Road is to construct a 3-story dwelling, 7 variances. Staff report, 1 is modify variance number 1 from 1014 to 9.5 as per applicant. And B, refuse variance number 7 for the deck. We have here 2 speakers. Mr. Anthony Gornick, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. We have 1 more speaker here, and therefore we need you to make a small presentation, up to 5 minutes. So please tell us what is the merit of your application.
Yes, my name is Anthony Gornick, and I live at 133 the Kingsway, and I am the agent for this application at 253 Manor Road East. We have been retained to design and construct a new home at this property. After completion of the design drawings, we now require and request 7 minor variances. As noted, we are aware of the planning department staff report, and based on this, we have respectfully submitted a slightly modified variance application addressing the roof height and the rear platform variance. I have submitted this, and I believe it's on file with your committee members, with the staff, sorry. The first variance is the maximum building height for this area is 9 meters as allowed, and we have modified our application to have a maximum dwelling height of 9.5 meters. Our original submission was for 10.14. The second variance is for maximum front and rear exterior wall heights. The allowable is 7 meters, and we propose 8.49 meters as our submission today. The permitted FSI is 0.6 times for the lot area, and we propose the FSI at 1.05 times the lot area. The permitted maximum dwelling depth for a detached home is 17 meters, and we propose a dwelling depth to be 19.4 meters. For this area, attached garages facing a street are not permitted, and in our submission today, we propose to have a garage attached to the home and facing a street. Rear yard platforms are permitted up to an area of 4 square meters, and we propose the platform for this in our submission to be 12.5 square meters. Our original submission for this variance was 15 square meters. We have increased our side yard setbacks for the platform. On the east side, we've increased the setback to 1 meter, where originally our submission was 0.45 meters. And on the west side, we've increased the setback to 1.63 meters, where originally our submission was 1.07. With all of the above, we respectfully submit that these variances to be consistent with the area, and I'm happy to field any questions.
Okay, we have one more speaker, and we'll get you back. In the meantime, just to make it clear, you said you discussed it with the staff and you made the changes. Now, the staff is recommending a maximum of 9.5 meters for variance number 1. You originally submitted 12 meters, 0.05, and later changed it to 10.14, which you're submitting now. And that is what, for that is they're recommending just to further reduce it to 9.5 meter. Yeah?
Correct.
So you're okay with that, huh?
Yes, I have submitted drawings that actually represent a roof height maximum at 9.5 meters.
Thank you. Okay, so we have one more speaker here, Martin Schwartz. Mr. Schwartz, are you there? Mr. Schwartz?
Members and committee, Mr. Schwartz is present. He is unmuted. So if Martin Schwartz can hear this, go ahead, Martin, and communicate what you'd like to communicate.
Does he hear you? Mr. Schwartz, are you there? Yeah, no, that one is gone. Yeah, we're in the middle one. We can't keep it. You think he's there? Oh, he's not there. Okay, okay. The other speaker is not there, so we have the presentation was made. Any questions? There is no other speaker. The speaker didn't show up, so Ms. Atarodi.
I have a question regarding the variance number 4, the FSI, which the proposed one is almost 1.75 times of the maximum allowance. So just would like to get some explanation for that.
Did you hear the question, sir?
Variance 4?
Yes. For number 4, yeah, so related to the FSI, so a lot of the variances here are related to us having a proposed attached garage that's facing a street. So the area that's sort of behind the garage on that level is included in FSI, which kind of moves us up closer to 1.05. So the area behind the garage is included in FSI, and that's why that variance is sort of, it is what it is.
Any other question?
No.
Okay, no more questions. Can I have a motion, please? Anyone for a motion? Going once?
Well, Mr. Chair, we have to have a motion.
Yeah.
And so I will move to accept the proposal, the application with the revisions that I understand have been submitted to staff already. And those are that, and you may have to help me here, that the variance number one is changed to
9.5
9.5
meters, yeah.
And that variance number 7 is changed to 12.5 square meters. Am I accurate in those revisions?
No, the first one is okay.
There was also on number 7, the east side was 1 meter.
Yeah.
And the west side 1.63 meters.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so you have the you have number the first one is okay.
Right.
Modify, and the other one?
The surface area is the deck is 12.5, and the setback is 1 meter from the east, and a setback from the west is, can somebody just remind me of what it was?
1.63.
Okay.
Did you get that?
I couldn't hear that.
Okay, did you get that, Mr. Secretary? Okay, so, all right. So in other words, we have modify number 1 to 9.5. Then the 12.5 addressed to what? 12 meter. 12.9 square meters. Okay. And the setback 1 meter from east. Okay. Do I have a second? Ms. Sankar? Second. Okay. All in favor? Okay, I see all of them. Okay, thank you. Okay, sir, your application is approved. You heard that, or you want us to repeat it?
No, I've heard that very clearly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Item number 17, 410 Florence Avenue West, to conduct alterations to the existing school, 1 variance, which is a nursery school instead of the basement, is required on the first floor, but they want the basement, and they have 17 letters of support. Now, we don't have anybody registered, just the applicant. Mr. Richard Idels, are you there?
I am here, Mr. Chairman.
Could you please state your name and your own address just for the records here?
My name is Richard Idels, OAA. My address is 80 North Meadow Crescent, Thornhill, Ontario,
Okay.
L4J31.
Thank you. We don't have any other person registered here. I read all the information about this, and let's see what the members are saying. We have just this variance here, and there is no other person registered. Do we need the presentation? No? Okay, can I have a motion there, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I do see your name on the previous decision here. I wonder if this brings back memories for you. But I'll motion to approve this application as is.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Bartolo, all in favor? Okay, unanimously approved. So
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. We appreciate it very much.
You made a good presentation.
You made it easy for me.
Okay, number 18, which is 190 Alfred Avenue. And this is to construct a new detached dwelling, 8 variances, two letters of objection, 1 letter of support. That's all I have here. But we have three speakers altogether. So we have here Mr. Zhang, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, can you please state your name and address for the records here?
Yeah, my name is Shen Shuzhang, architect. Location is 98 Scarsdale Road, North York.
Okay, we have 2 more speakers here, and therefore we need you to make us a presentation with a maximum of 5 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that is a lot located in the typical North York location. We proposed quite typical screening, and we request for 8 variances. The first one is about the main wall height. So the permitted main wall height is 7.5 meters. We proposed the main wall height 8 meters, and then after talking to the staff, we reduced it to 7.85 meters. So the number 1, we changed the proposed main wall height. And the number 2, about the side yard setback, about the first floor height, the permitted height is 1.2 meters. We proposed 1.52 meters. And the coverage, permitted coverage is 30%. We proposed 32%. And the number 4 and 5 about the side yard setback. The required setback is 1.8 meters. We proposed 1.82 meters for both sides. And the number 6 is about the deck. The building is shorter than what allowed, and we try to have a slightly larger deck in the rear yard. The projection increased from allowed 2.5 meters to 2.9 meters, 40 centimeter people. And the number 7 is for the older zoning bylaw. The building height will increase from allowed 8.8 meters to 9.82 meters. That's mainly because of the location of the where the house located is much higher than the street. And actually the building height is complied with the new zoning bylaw. And then the first floor height is also higher than permitted 1.5 meters, increased to 2.34 meters. The house is trying to have some contemporary style elevation for the family. And that's what I present for now. Thank you.
That's it?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We have here one more speaker here, two more actually. And Jack Lamb, are you there? Mr. Lamb, are you there? Okay.
Mr. Chair and members, Jack Lamb is present and Jack Lamb is unmuted. If Jack Lamb is present and he is unmuted, he is more than welcome to speak. But it could be that he did not authorize his microphone when he joined.
Thank you. Mr. Lamb, you're unmuted. Could you please speak up? Mr. Lamb, one more time. Could you please? Hello? Okay, we'll move to the next speaker and we come back to him.
Mr. Lamb, if you're able to log off and log back on quickly and make sure you authorize your microphone.
Thank you, Adam. We have one more speaker here, Mr. Sheldon Kaplan. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me okay, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, thank you. So please tell us your name and address for the records here.
Sure. My name is Sheldon Kaplan. That's C-A-P-L-I-N. And I live at 191 Alfred Avenue, which is directly across from the subject property.
Thank you. So could you tell us your concern? And we have 5 minutes for the presentation.
Sure, and I won't take a lot of time. I did submit a letter to the committee, which I hope the committee members have had an opportunity to review. So I won't go into it in a lot of detail, but it does explain our concern with the variances, that there are many here, and the property owner has not indicated a specific need for these variances. They are not appropriate or similar to the other homes on this block of the street. I do note that many years ago, when the bylaws were changed, prohibiting basement garages, I'll call them, or the ones below grade, that was done in this neighborhood historically for homes that had lots of 45 feet or less. The home across at 190 has a lot that I believe is 50 feet, plus or minus. I'm not sure the metric conversion there. And so therefore, he's looking for this variance in order to provide an at-grade garage with 2 levels directly above that, which is not typically found on our street. And I believe my letter covers the concerns with the other variances that he has requested. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We'll just see if there's any question. Any question here? No? Okay, so we'll go back to Mr. Lamb, see if he's present. Mr. Lamb, are you there? Can you unmute him?
Mr. Chair and members, Mr. Jack Lamb is unmuted and he is able to speak.
Thank you. Mr. Lamb? Mr. Jack Lamb, are you there?
Hello.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Okay. Please tell us your name and your address, please.
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, just
Right?
your name and address.
Okay. Yeah. I'm Jack Lamb, living at 192 Alfred Avenue. So just on the abutting the property on the just on the east side of 190. So here are the okay.
And
So
what's
you
your
want me to start?
tell us what your concern is.
Okay, so a few concerns. Number one is so we object to the variance number 3, that the increased lot size 32%. It will decrease my the groundwater absorption and increase flooding potential. So I don't think it's I mean, it may affect a little bit of overall scheme of things, but it does affect it. And now my second point is the height limitation, the height variance request. point number 7, variance number 7. So with the increased height, it will increase the likelihood of the new house looking down at the window on my west side, which is the east side of this new building. So I don't like that. So the next point is the most important point, actually, the east side setback application variance. Now, I don't like it because, first of all, the length of the setback is quite long. Usually, like the length from the front of the house to the back is very long. I mean, the setback's okay for a little bit, but it's really long. And it also extends to the second floor as well. So, yeah, above the garage should be on the main floor only for the setback. And And then another thing that's really a big concern is at the setback there's a big window at this extrusion. So extruded the big window. So it's not common to have a big window at the setback, and it's looking down at this window very close to me, and not to mention fire potential, having a big window having so close to my house. And yeah, that's all the point I have.
Okay, any questions for the speaker? No? Okay, Mr. Zhang, would you come back and address those concerns?
Sorry, are you asking me?
Yeah, go ahead, please. We have two speakers. They finished, and we'd like you to summarize what do you think their concern is.
Yeah, thank you. So as you know, each time when we apply for variance, we always talk to our neighbors, and this time, because of the situation, we still are contact with a couple of people. And then the neighbor in the north, the address is 255 Hollywood Avenue is supported and signed a supporting letter. And the neighbor in the west, 188 Alfred Avenue, also called me to support the variance. So about the setback, we proposed 1.52 on both sides. In the east side, west side, the neighbor's setback is also 1.51 meters. So they happy with that. And for east side, I understood the neighbor talked. He also realized only the garage part has a smaller setback, 1.52. The rest will be larger enough. And his setback is 1.78. About the windows, we will have a look and adjust it to reduce that. That is wrong wrapping windows for the modern style house, but I do understand the size of the window to the level seems to be too big. We can reduce that dramatically. Yeah.
That's it?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions for this speaker? Miss Atarodi?
No, I just have a quick question regarding the variance number 1. I just want to know, he only modified one variance, and that was variance number 1, and the proposed main wall height is now 7.85. Please correct me. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Any other question? The east side yard setback, is that for the portion of the garage only?
Yes.
So the rest is like they respect 1.8. Is that correct?
Yeah, more than that is
Just
about
for
2 meters.
Okay, well, we'll see if
Yeah,
if the let's see if the members want to make a condition, then
Yes.
the approval will not be construed as getting all the way through 1.8. So
Yeah, we can modify the number 4 to the proposed is the setback.
Okay.
1.52 for the first 7.14 meters.
Yes, for the garage. Okay.
Yeah, then the garage is 4.14 meters. We can modify the wording in this way.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions? If not, can I have a motion, please? Ms. Atarodi?
To you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with the following changes: that the variance number 1, the proposed main wall height is now 7.85 meter. I also would like to tie to the site plan and set that this development to be substantially built in accordance with the site plan attached to this application. And that's my motion.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Okay, unanimously. So, sir, your application is approved unanimously based on that condition. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, variance number 19. Okay, I mean, item number 18 now is 19. Item number 19, to build a new dwelling, 17 variances, 3-story height, staff report as a condition per elevation drawings and so on, and forestry condition 2 and 3, and letter of opposition from 55 Maki. Okay, so Mr. Nilufar Sultani, are you there?
Yes. Yes, I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Could you please state your name and address?
Yeah, my name is Nilufar Sultani from KH Davis Engineering, 1468 Danforth Avenue.
Thank you. Just a second. Is Mr. Graham Barrett is online? He's there. Okay. All right. So we have one more speaker. Therefore, we need you to make a presentation, please.
Okay. So as you, most of these variances are technical in nature. I'm just going to go through the explanation of these variances. They're triggered due to the small frontage of 10.67 meters, which is non-compliance with the minimum lot frontage of 15 meters. That's why it was unattainable to get the 1.8 meter setback. So we're asking for 1.22 meter setback, which is in keeping with the new builds in the area with similar lot frontage. And by not complying with the side yard setback, this triggered the platforms, chimney, and roof eave encroachment as well. So, and we're also asking for 31.95% coverage that is in keeping with the coverages granted in the area for new builds. The wall height of 8.5 meter is due to the windows being at the roof line. So where the windows are is only at 8.5 meters. And the basement, even though it's below grade, is closer to the established grade. That's why it makes it to be considered as first floor. The house is in compliance with the maximum height and is similar to design with many of the houses in the area. The first floor is now considered second floor, which triggered the platform variances for the front porch and the rear deck. And there are also comments from the concerns from the staff at the beginning. By working with them and changing the elevation, we were able to come to an agreement, and they don't seem to have any objections. And as Mr. Graham would speak, there were also concerns with the neighbor at 55, which by reducing the chimney depth and reducing the number of windows on that wall, we were able to come to an agreement as well. If you have, I'm done. If you have any question, I'll be happy to respond.
Thank you. We'll get you back after we hear from the other speaker. Mr. Graham Barrett, are you there?
Yes, good afternoon.
Okay, could you please state your name and address for us, please?
Sure, it's Graham Barrett, 1575 Dundas Street West, speaking on behalf of the neighbor at 55 McKee, Mr. Henry Kuo.
Thank you. So tell us, please, what's your concern about this application?
As Ms. Sultani mentioned, there were some concerns from the neighbor about the chimney breast encroachment and a number of windows on the side of the house facing his property, although that was not a required variance. We have reached a compromise that addressed those concerns, and I believe those plans are before this committee. And they were dated September 14th on the drawings, September 22nd on the AIC. And we just asked that if the committee decides to approve this proposal today, that the decision be tied to those plans. Also, at the last meeting, this matter was deferred because a variance or two was missed or misidentified. One of those variances pertains to the encroachment of the eaves. Once this had been added to the public hearing notice, Mr. Kuo had some concerns about the encroachment of the eaves on the side of the home facing his property, but he has advised me that he trusts this committee to make the right decision regarding this particular variance and will not stand in the way of his neighbors should it be approved. He also had some concerns about kitchen exhaust fans venting towards his property, and while this isn't a matter for committee of adjustment, he would like it mentioned on the record that the neighbors have indicated they're open to discussing solutions should this become a problem in the future. Otherwise, I'd like to thank Ms. Sultani and the owners of 57 McKee for being open to compromise. We had really productive discussions and to arrive at this point, and I believe we've got a solution that works for all concerned. So thanks for your time.
Thank you. Any question for this gentleman? No, so we'll get back Mr. Sultani. Are you, I'm sorry, Nilofar Sultani?
Mr. Chair, sorry, one quick question, please.
Oh, who's that?
No, it's me.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
No, the last speaker there, I apologize, I forgot your name, sir, but you referenced a set of drawings that's before us. So what I'm looking at is September 14th, revision number 5, revision 5, COA. Is that those are the modified drawings you're speaking about?
That's the drawing on the actual drawings itself. That's the date, I'm sorry, on the drawings itself.
That's the revision number and date, yes.
Yeah, September 14th was the date that showed the reduced chimney breast encroachment and the reduction in windows. So that should be the one.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Nulfar Sultani, can you come back, please?
Yes.
Okay, so can you please address those concerns and we'll move on.
Concerns with the neighbor? Well, as we already discussed, we did compromise and revise the drawing to address their concerns. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do anything about the roof eave because we tried to design a roof to accommodate proper ceiling height on the 3rd floor and be compliance with the slope roof bylaws. So aside from that, I have no other comment.
Okay, so you had discussion with them and you're not changing anything. Is that correct?
Well, we already changed the things and they're shown in the September 14th drawings, yes. So nothing else from that.
Okay. Any more question to this applicant? If not, any motion? Anyone would like to? Mr. Bartolo?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to put forward a motion to approve this application subject to the proposal being developed substantially in accordance with the east elevation, west elevation, and section drawing submitted to the Committee of Adjustment and attached as items 1, 2, and 3 of this report.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Okay, unanimously approved. Okay. Sir? It's okay, he doesn't. Okay, so 1:30 a.m. So So you really didn't give us too much time, huh? Because of the, it was problem before, huh? Otherwise, we would have had more. So I think this segment is finished. We'll start at 1:30. So we have only 15 minutes. Ms. Sankar, you're asking.
Can we take a little bit more time because the evening is going to be quite a lot more? I just think 15 minutes is too little.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So how about half an hour?
I second it.
Half an hour. I'll second it. Half an hour is fine. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Unfortunately, we lost a lot of time with the problem we had before on the. Now it's okay. Hopefully, the next time we'll finish before 9 o'clock. Half an hour.